The Imperium has faced countless horrors, heretics who betray it, xenos who defy it, daemons who seek to corrupt it. These enemies hate, they scheme, they conquer. But there is something else, something that does none of these things. Something older than war, older than ambition, older than the very struggles that define this galaxy. A hunger, not driven by malice, not guided by ambition, only the need to consume. It does not hate you. It does not fear you. It does not even know you exist. And yet, it will consume you all the same. Beyond the light of the Astronomicon, beyond the edges of the mapped void, something moves, not born of this galaxy. It is believed to have come from the dark between galaxies, from a place where the stars are few and life is rarer still, drifting through the intergalactic night for aeons, drawn toward the warmth of living worlds like a predator drawn to firelight. Long before the Imperium understood its nature, its first tendrils were sighted at the galactic rim. What was mistaken for an isolated xenos threat was only the leading edge. The explorers who first encountered it did not live long enough to report back. The worlds that first fell to it were simply gone. No wreckage, no survivors, no warning. Not an empire, not a species, a swarm. And it was already hungry long before we knew its name. They are called the Tyranids. But that name is a lie, because it implies individuality. There are no Tyranids. There is only the hunger, a single vast consciousness stretching across the cold dark between galaxies. The Hive Mind, every creature, from the smallest ripper to the towering hive tyrant, is not alive in the way we understand. They are cells in a cosmic body, thoughts in an alien brain, weapons grown, not built. Their will does not belong to them. It flows through synapse, the unseen web that binds the swarm into a single purpose. Through towering war beasts and psychic conduits, the hive mind thinks, sees, and commands across entire worlds simultaneously. And where that will is severed, the swarm does not die. It devolves, reduced to instinct, reduced to hunger without direction. Creatures that once moved with terrifying precision begin to tear at anything that breathes, including each other. Because true thought does not reside in the creatures that fight. It resides deeper, in vast, hidden intelligences buried far from any battlefield. The Norn Queens. They are never seen on the front lines. They do not fight. They do not need to. While armies clash and worlds burn above them, they work in silence, deep within the bowels of hive ships, far beyond the reach of any weapon. From the flesh and DNA of consumed worlds, they shape new life, new weapons, new answers to every form of resistance the prey has ever attempted. They remember every failure. They correct every weakness. And they have been doing this across galaxies for longer than the Imperium has existed. Where the swarm arrives, worlds do not fall. They are eaten, oceans stripped down to bare rock, atmospheres harvested and drawn up into living ships above, continents torn apart and broken down to raw biomass, every tree, every animal, every human being reduced to fuel for the next wave. Nothing is wasted. Nothing survives. Before the swarm arrives, there is silence. Astropaths scream, then fall quiet. Navigators lose the light of the Emperor. The warp itself recoils. This is the shadow in the warp, a pressure upon reality, a suffocation of thought. Distress calls do not carry. They die, screaming into the void. Warp routes once stable become treacherous, unreliable. Ships vanish attempting escape. Reinforcements never arrive. Faith falters. Communication dies. Hope withers. Even the entities of the warp find this presence alien. Daemons do not flock to it, they avoid it. For the shadow is not of chaos. It is something else entirely. Something that does not belong to the great game. Something so fundamentally foreign to this galaxy that even its oldest horrors want nothing to do with it. Entire star systems are cut off before the first bioship is even seen. And on the ground, in the bunkers, in the hive cities, in the cathedrals built to honor the god emperor, soldiers pray. Priests lead congregations in desperate litany. Psychers reach into the warp for guidance and find only static, only pressure, only that dreadful smothering weight pressing down on every mind. No answer comes. The Emperor is silent. The Astronomicon still burns, but its light cannot reach them here. By the time the skies darken with bioships, by the time the first spores begin to fall, it is already too late. The Tyranids do not use technology. They are technology. Their ships are alive, pulsing with bioorganic systems that dwarf the comprehension of the Imperium's greatest magi. Their weapons breathe. Their ammunition hunts. The walls of their vessels repair themselves mid-battle, responding to damage, sealing breaches with living tissue faster than any repair crew could respond. Every organism is a tool. Every creature is a weapon. Nothing is manufactured. Nothing is built on an assembly line or forged in a factory. Every attack, every defense, grown and perfected by millions of years of predatory evolution before it ever leaves the flesh. And they adapt. Lasguns become useless after the first engagement, their energy absorbed and countered. Toxins that killed thousands in one battle fail completely in the next. Armor that held is dissolved by new strains of bioacid the swarm did not possess the week before. The battlefield itself becomes part of them. Soil, stone, and wreckage stripped down and drawn into living war machines that grow stronger as the fight continues. The dead are not wasted, they are repurposed. Fallen warriors, human and Tyranid alike, are broken down and reassembled on the spot. Bone and sinew remade into something faster, something deadlier, something that fights back with pieces of those who tried to stop it. Every battle teaches them. Every loss refines them. What stopped them yesterday will not work tomorrow. What almost worked will be answered specifically, precisely, and permanently. The swarm remembers, not as individuals, but as a single living mind that spans worlds and never forgets. Some creatures exist purely to shatter fortifications, living battering rams of chitin and muscle, bred for one purpose alone, capable of bringing down a void shield with their body alone. Others exist to break minds, psychic horrors that tear sanity apart before their claws ever touch flesh, leaving defenders catatonic and screaming at things no one else can see. Their smallest creatures are no less dangerous. Perfected hunters, digestion engines, swarms of thousands that strip a human being to bone in under a minute. All of it, every organism, every claw, every spore, part of a single hive-wide strategy that feels instinctual yet runs deeper than any general's war plan. Every invasion is more than destruction. It is adaptation given form. Every consumed world feeds the next, the biomass becoming the seed of something worse, something smarter, something the galaxy is even less prepared to face. The Tyranids do not rest. They do not mourn. They do not hesitate. They are not an army you defeat and send home. They are not an enemy you negotiate with or outlast. They are the answer to a question the galaxy never wanted to ask. What happens when something hungers for everything, and nothing has ever been able to stop it? Hive fleets descend like locust storms. They do not march. They do not maneuver in the way human tacticians understand. They pour into systems in a tide of living ships so vast, they blot out the stars, a darkness that moves, that breathes, that hungers. Behemoth, Kraken, Leviathan, names given by terrified humans scrambling to categorize something that defies categorization. But they are only fractions of something far greater. Tendrils of a force that stretches beyond the galaxy, beyond the reach of the Astronomicon, beyond the edge of anything we have ever mapped. Each hive fleet moves with purpose, yet without mercy. They are not here to conquer, to rule, or to claim. They are here to consume. Planets do not fall. They are devoured. Forests and cities reduced to biomass within days. Air and water harvested and drawn up into the fleet above. Nothing spared. Nothing left behind but silence and bare stone. The swarms are relentless in a way that breaks human commanders. One fleet consumes, another adapts. Another follows from a different vector, converging, overlapping, striking from angles the defenders hadn't thought to cover, ensuring the galaxy cannot recover between blows. Because there is no between blows, there is only the next wave. No victory lasts, no world endures. When the feast is done, the Hive fleets do not linger. They do not garrison the ruins. They do not plant a flag. They move on, leaving behind a silence so absolute, so total, that the few survivors who escape lose their minds trying to describe it. Not the silence of an empty room, the silence of a world that used to breathe and no longer does. Entire star systems hollowed, stripped bare of life, of warmth, of any trace that something once lived there. And yet these fleets are not the main body. These are scouts, advanced tendrils, tasting worlds, learning, reporting back. The first wave of something greater still, something that waits beyond the edges of the galaxy, patient, hungering, eternal. The galaxy can prepare. It can fight. Great heroes have bled and died holding the line against the swarm, and their sacrifices were real, and they mattered. But they bought time, only time. It cannot stop the tide. It can only watch as the swarms descend, as the light of stars is swallowed by living shadow, and wait for the next wave to come. The Tyranids are not invading. They are migrating, not for conquest, not for territory. A tide of hunger moving across the galaxy, consuming everything in its path, not out of malice, not out of hatred, but because that is simply what they do. That is what they have always done. And that raises a terrible question. If what we see, what we fear, is only the edge of the swarm, then what unimaginable mass follows behind? Some magi biologists whisper a forbidden theory. The Hive fleets that have struck from the void, Behemoth, Kraken, Leviathan, and the others, they are not the main body. They are scouts, the first taste. A probing tide that learns the defenses of this galaxy, adapts to its weapons and its warriors, and feeds everything back to something far greater, waiting in the dark. The Tyranids do not occupy worlds. They strip them bare, consuming every living thing, and move on. Entire star systems become hollow, lifeless husks, planets without life, civilizations without memory, ecosystems that took billions of years to develop, gone in a matter of weeks. And yet, these fleets are not the whole. They are the shadow of the true devourer, a presence so vast, so fundamentally alien, that the galaxy has not yet glimpsed its full scale. Their migration is not a strategy. It is inevitability. It is what a force of pure hunger does when it has crossed the void and found something worth consuming. Think about what the Imperium has thrown against them. Space Marines, the finest warriors humanity has ever produced, have died by the thousands holding worlds against the swarm. Entire guard regiments, millions of soldiers, sacrificed to buy a single planet a few more hours. Inquisitors have burned worlds to deny the Tyranids their biomass, erasing billions of lives in one act, choosing extinction over consumption. And the swarm learned from every single one of those moments, filed them away, adapted, returned stronger. The greatest victories humanity has ever won against the Tyranids were not enough to stop them. They were only enough to slow them. If this is the vanguard, then what waits beyond? What hungers in the cold dark, beyond the edge of our charts, beyond the reach of the Emperor's light? We do not know. We may never know. But it is coming. You cannot negotiate with hunger. You cannot corrupt it. You cannot frighten it. You cannot reason with it. It does not think in ways we understand. It does not feel. It does not hesitate. You can only delay it. Every battle won against the Tyranids is not a victory. It is a brief reprieve, a postponement, measured in days, years, at best decades. Because the swarm does not mourn its losses, it does not falter when millions of its creatures die, it only learns. Every fallen warrior, every shattered world, every desperate tactic used against it, absorbed, fed back into the whole, studied, answered. The Imperium has burned worlds to deny the swarm biomass, entire civilizations, billions of souls, erased not by the enemy, but by their own side, in acts of desperation so terrible they are never spoken of in open records. It did not stop the Tyranids. It slowed them. The Eldar have faced them before. Their ancient records speak of contact with the swarm long before the Imperium existed, and even they, with 10,000 years of wisdom and foresight, could offer no permanent solution, only warnings. The orcs have fought them and called it glorious. Even the largest Wah is eventually consumed, the genetic memory of orcish biology absorbed and catalogued by a hive mind that now knows precisely how to kill them. No species has found an answer. No species has even come close. And so the galaxy continues, fighting, bleeding, burning worlds to buy time for other worlds, heroes rising and falling, sacrifices made that history will never record.